Fuck. Welcome to 2024, everyone. This has been this is going to be a great episode. Welcome back to Shut Up and Enjoy, your podcast that allows one to shut up and enjoy what they are actually seeing. While we maintain critical opinions and back up with facts, we do still acknowledge what it is and like to enjoy it and step away from this mad, mad world and this crazy, crazy life we're all in. I am joined here, as always, by Dat Nerd Dante. And for those of you, for whatever reason, if you don't know me, I am the athletic nerd, aka Chris. Just kind of made that up this week, so we're gonna go with it. We're gonna roll with it and see what happens.
Hey, roll with it.
You all can just shut up and enjoy that nickname.
That's right.
This week, we are going to be talking about the latest sci-fi craze, to kind of be swiping and swooping and sweeping. That's the word I'm looking for.
Sweeping, yes.
Sweeping through sci-fi culture and Netflixing and chilling. We're going to be talking about Rebel Moon, the Zack Snyder sci-fi movie that came out a month ago, early December.
Even maybe 2 weeks. I think it premiered on the 21st. So
Yeah, like
about
2 weeks ago, just before Christmas.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, we will be giving our opinions on it. Opinions aplenty. 12 opinions given, 11 ratings taken. So yeah, without further ado, Dante, will you please grace us with your review?
Review, or you want me to give the quick synopsis?
Oh, let's do the synopsis. You're right. You're
Yes.
right.
All right, here we go. Rebel Moon, Part 1, A Child of Fire, or simply Rebel Moon. The film is set in a fictional galaxy ruled by the imperialistic Mother World, whose military, the Imperium, threatens a farming colony on the moon of Vel. Cora, a former Imperium soldier, ventures on a quest to recruit warriors from across the galaxy to make a stand against the Imperium before the return to Vel. And that is your synopsis of Rebel
And that tells me absolutely nothing.
Moon. Kind of like the movie kind of sort of told us nothing. It was much ado about nothing. Now, when we originally heard about this movie, it was supposed to be Zack Snyder's pitch to Disney or Lucasfilm for his version of a Star Wars film. And unfortunately, I think by us, and when I say us, and I don't just mean us, the two of us here, I mean us, the people who like movies, who like film, who like nerdy culture, who like Star Wars, kind of sort of got that inkling of, okay, this is definitely going to be something in the Star Wars realm. This is something that we all want to see because it's
Yeah.
got to be something in Star Wars. We probably should have taken note that it was rejected by Disney, Lucasfilm, and went in with that thought to it. My overall thoughts on it, like the average Zack Snyder film, it was beautifully shot.
Yes.
Each scene
Yes.
jumped off the screen and just enveloped you in awe, I guess is the best way to put it. So every shot, every frame was beautiful, but then the actual plot, the dialogue, the acting, dare I say it, left a lot to be desired. It was, I think, a little bit more than 2 hours, so it was a pretty substantially long film.
Mm-hmm.
And then right before, and so this was rated PG-13. It's streaming, so why does it have to have ratings anyway? But that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Then we get word that there's also going to be a quote unquote director's cut, the Zack Snyder cut, that is upwards of 4 hours long. that is also going that's rated R, that's going to be premiering here at some point before part two.
Is this how Zack Snyder's gonna make movies forever? Just release a shitty version and then release a director's cut?
I get the feeling that it was more or less the way that he presented it when he talked about this other cut. The way that he presented it was that it was a Netflix thing. So they say, hey, go crazy, do your thing for the extended cut, but also make this 2.5 hour PG-13 cut that we're gonna show first. So it's a weird situation that they have going on. Uh, from what we saw here, will we even want to see that other version? Should we see that other version?
Is this the
I don't
version
know.
we deserve, not the version we want?
Right.
So I wonder then, with that context, did the production studio screw it up and not necessarily Zack Snyder? Because one thing that I will give Zack Snyder is he's phenomenal at world building.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. He falls short on the scripting, the dialogue, the acting. Like that's not where his talents are. And I wonder he if that longer version gave us more context to the characters, if they wouldn't have seemed so flat to
Right.
us.
Right.
So is maybe the reason this movie isn't doing as well as everyone wanted it to or expected it to, partly because of what you mentioned with the production companies that, well, we only want a 2 hour movie, not a 4 hour movie.
It's strongly possible. To your point of world building, we already know going into this, but before this was even released, that there's going to be some animated uh, films and series in this world. There's going to be comics in this world. I think there was also supposed to be a video game that may or may not be canceled now, but again, so and he has a world, a Bible for this universe. Um, so there's a lot coming for it. The unfortunate part is this is our first experience in it. This is our first taste of it,
It's not making me
and
rush back
it
and go see another one.
right, right. So that kind of gives you a little bit of pause. That gives you some questions of, do I want to invest another, if part two is another 2.5 hours, I want to invest another 2.5 hours into that. If if the R-rated cut of this one comes out first, do I want to invest that other 4 hours plus the other 2.5 hours? But wait, is part two also have a 4 hour cut? So are we now doing 8 hours? Is this has this now turned into a series, an 8 part 1 hour series at this
It's the Peter Jackson extended editions.
point?
15 hours of The Lord of the Rings.
So it's a it's an interesting place to be, again, because we're going into this new world. And my thought is that perhaps Netflix wants this to be set up as their universe, as their answer to a Star Wars, or their answer to a Marvel or
Well, they're not
something.
doing a great job getting me hooked. Netflix, let's talk. I know we've had our differences in the past, but if you want to do this, let us help. Reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you.
We'll help you out a little bit.
And a check for $100 million.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll take it.
Yeah, yeah. So what did you think of the different characters who were recruited throughout? It seemed like they all really came from different genres across the world, like your Western, your samurai, your Lone Ranger. Like it seemed like a
Writer, right? You had a little bit of everything.
yeah. Do you think that was pulled off well?
Unfortunately, no, because we got what we got was okay, I need a person that has this set of skills. So I'm going to go and find this person. I'm going to get this person. We're going to get a little montage of what skills they actually have. That's for the viewer's benefit, not necessarily for Cora, who was
Mhm.
Sophia Patella. Not necessarily for her benefit. She just needs fighters. She needs warriors to come back and help
Yeah.
her village. So we get this little montage of, okay, why is this person good at what he does here? And then they all just, okay, let's all get together, jump on this spaceship and go help out. There's no, there wasn't any real backstory. There wasn't any, we didn't get a chance to have any feeling on why this person would join up with this person to go and fight for. They don't know anything about these. Is the goal to just
It,
fight up, just to gang up to fight against the Imperium, and that's it? So okay, well, all right. So since you come to ask, I'm gonna join you and go and fight. It's just a bit.
I was thinking that too, that same exact thought of like, so rando strangers, no one's ever heard of them. Hey, you want to come help take down the essentially military government of our galaxy? Sure, why not? Let's go. Like,
Right.
I would want a little bit more of a conversation to happen
Mm-hmm.
before I decide to go overthrow the government.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Let's just do it. Let's all grab. Let's pick up arms and go fight someone.
Yeah, it seemed that part of it seemed very not fleshed out at all. And I understand that like some of the characters might have had their grievances in the past or they've been wronged by him or that's like General what's his face. I can't even remember character names. Like I just
Unfortunately,
watched the
I
movie
cannot
last
either.
weekend and I got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
I think the most we got was the woman with the smoky lightsabers,
Mm-hmm.
where it's
Yeah.
like the Imperium took my kid and like killed my kid, so
Yeah.
now I'm making it my mission to save all kids from the Imperium and everything. It's like, okay, that's cool. I have motive. Guy who harnessed the hippogriff, you're a jacked blacksmith. Sure. I got nothing else on. I got Sure, it was a cool scene watching him tame the hippogriff and or break the hippogriff, but I
It was a cool scene, but then it was also, if he was already there and the bird creature thingamajob was there as well, why didn't the person that had him captured just already make him do? Just I don't want to be that guy. However, some stuff just ain't making
or
sense.
we'll transfer the transition the conversation to talk about why there's a Phillips head screwdriver in Ray's staff in episode 7.
We don't want to get into that.
God no, we'll be crucified before our podcasting career even takes off. Um, but I did mention the smoky lightsabers. I will say they did look cool.
They did again because he's a master at making art.
Yeah,
Art. His films are pieces of art. Some will say they're pieces of shit too. I won't say that, but they are pieces of
some
art.
people. Um, it was some of the like inventions or like devices and stuff that they came up with, like the suitcases turning into the restraining things, the restraining probes or whatever.
Mhm.
That was kind of cool. Like, so I can't say it's not a creative universe. It's just not a well executed one.
Right, right. One thing that always gets to me, and not only these kind of films, but films in general, when they have a so the Imperium forces, the army that came down to Velt to take the extra supplies because they needed to be fed or whatever. Um, the plot of that was just incredibly weird.
I mean,
Uh,
while that does happen and conquering forces will come in and like that's essentially pillaging the village.
right, right.
Seldom does that actually turn into they just happen to go to the village where like the Imperium's emperor's daughter was hiding. Like,
It was convenient, but movies are made up of convenience. So
yeah, I mean
so
there is an element of convenience that I do have to let slide on this. Why do you care so much about this village? It
right,
doesn't have anything. It's not like it had in Avatar where it was a village of unobtainium or
right.
whatever.
It
Like
it was just
it was
grain and
just
food they were
grain.
looking right, and then they left a squad of soldiers. I I assume to oversee the village and make
The
sure
gather
that
like the
they
gathering
actually
of the grain and everything for the
did the food.
yeah.
So this is back to the part that gets to me every time. So whenever there is a group of soldiers like this, they always have to be incredibly shitty and rapey. And
Yeah.
guys, your job was to go there and be sure that the village took care of what they were supposed to take
We
care of.
get it. You're the villains. We don't need a like misogynistic, overly
Yes,
aggressive, hyper masculine, rapey scene. Like we
we
don't
don't need it
we
at
don't need it.
all.
I don't want it.
Right, right.
I
They
don't
could
need
have
it.
done 1,000 other things to get Cora to beat them guys up, which she took out the entire squad. So she's like superhero
And we get it.
style,
She's a badass.
right? With an axe. They all had guns and shit, but she
That
took.
was very that whole scene when they were fighting in the barn reminded me of what's her name? River from Firefly.
Oh yes,
From the Serenity movie.
yes,
She goes
exactly.
in and then the doors open and you just see her like holding and you see the blood dripping off the axe
Yes,
where she owns
exactly.
Reavers. Like that's what it kind of reminded me of.
Well, 100%,
Protect
100%,
me,
exactly.
Simon. Now let me protect you.
And so I'm thinking they didn't do a very good job of time, and that happens a lot in films. For whatever reason, we can never get a real sense of time. It seemed to me like all of this happened on the same day, so there was no way that the Imperium forces were that far away from the village or that far away from the planet at all. These guys couldn't call for backup. How long do we? Okay, I believe the I don't even know the dude's name, but the whoever was in charge when they came down and beat the guy up with a
Yeah.
bone or shin bone or some shit.
Yeah. I should talk about that too.
Could they not have called back to the squad and said, "Hey, everything cool down there?" Or was the plan to just okay? We're gonna go here to this village. We're gonna drop these guys off, and then we're just gonna bounce, and we're gonna come back in 3 months to get the harvest. Was that the plan? Seems like a pretty dumbass plan. Now, by the same token, if you say, okay, what they do is they go from moon to moon or from place to place, taking grains, taking harvest, taking supplies. So this was just a part of their taking mission. And at each place they drop some troops. And then the troops know, hey, there's going to be a comeback around in 3 months and we'll go off to the next place, what have you. Again, it just didn't give much it didn't give us much in a way of time passage or much in a way of what exactly the plan was for the Imperium's forces.
Yeah.
Same token, we didn't get a sense of why Cora cared so much about that village. She left the army, went to this village, was doing her little at the beginning when she was planting crops or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, but we didn't get any sense of why, when she killed the troopers or what have you, just say, okay, now I'm going to get on my little horse and I'm out. You guys, you know,
We
have
we
fun
didn't
with
get
that.
that understanding of who she was until so much later on.
Right.
Or it's like, okay, maybe it's not the village, maybe it's the fact that Daddy is screwing everyone up like he screwed me up, which would have been great background for me to get invested in the character. And again, it's storytelling. We haven't seen all the parts yet. Is this a three-part thing?
Supposedly a two-part thing. Um,
So
but
we
again,
maybe seeing all of this in context, it'll fall into place.
certainly, and we say that a lot. We say that a lot when we're looking at series type things.
Mhm.
We said that when we were looking at Loki and
Yep.
Ahsoka and those things. But we shouldn't have to look for that in the second part of a film. So kind of like if we think about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, we knew that was going to be a two-part, but the Across the Spider-Verse portion of that two-part was its own contained film.
Yeah.
So we went out of that satisfied. We knew, okay, this had a beginning, a middle, end that we could clearly follow. We know what's going on. And then, oh, hey, we get a bonus of a whole other movie that's going to have a beginning, a middle, and bring it all together. I don't know if we can say that same thing for this. I don't even know if this was originally planned to be a two-part thing. We didn't know it was going to be a two-parter until we got the trailer a couple months ago when it said part one,
I wonder if they
fire.
didn't know it was going to be a two-parter.
It's possible. Maybe he just shot 8 hours worth
Maybe
of
that
shit.
maybe this whole thing was the Snyder cut, the proverbial Snyder cut, part one and part two, and Netflix is like, nah, you gotta trim
Break
it.
it up. Interesting. Interesting. Because again, we just don't know.
And we may never know, but it potentially, but it, depending on the reason, it might behoove Netflix to tell us. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think big corporations are in the business of telling.
The shroud of the Snyderverse has fallen.
And that's that. So now they have, just trying to bring it all together. There's been rumors that they're trying to acquire the DC properties and continue the
Netflix?
DC Snyderverse. Yeah,
Warner Brothers isn't going to do that with James Gunn. They're going to let they they would I can't see them doing that right after bringing a heavy hitter like Gunn in.
well, I mean, not to jump off of uh, Rebel Moon, but
No, we
is
can.
it Warner Brothers is now trying to merge with Paramount Plus or something? Yeah, Warner Discovery is trying to merge with Paramount Plus, so that could be a sell off. And who's to say Netflix won't just
but
buy
but a
DC?
sell-off. a sell-off would depreciate the value of Warner Brothers. Paramount, I would imagine, would want to buy it and then sell it off, not beforehand.
Well, that's what I'm saying. A merge and then sell it off. I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves. This is a whole other podcast that we're jumping into here, but
Yeah, I mean, it's just from where we know things stand right now, it's hard to imagine that they would do that, bringing in a heavy hitter like James Gunn before he even. We've gotten like three cast listings for Superman Legacy. Doing some move like this, they're asking for failure. Like they'll save money if they just shut everything down right now.
well, yeah, I mean they save money by getting rid of
Batgirl.
yeah. So,
I also wonder where HBO falls in that Paramount Plus deal because they've been a pretty heavy absorber of DC streaming.
well, they've taken stuff off of DC, off of Max, and put it on Netflix. So they're all at this point. I think they're just licensing properties out to uh, other other streamers.
I got $20. Can I have Green Lantern?
I don't know. It's gonna be tough.
It's yeah, but that's whatever DC is doing is a whole different podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
Whether or not it will be that podcast, I don't know. I would probably say we might want to stay away from that. Um, but we'll see. And for those of you listening, sucks to not know, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Spoilers. Um, yeah, so what I mean, how many lunar eclipses do you give this? Like a partial eclipse, a full eclipse,
Quarter moon.
quarter moon?
Quarter moon.
Yeah, it's rough. I hope part two kind of redeems it a little bit, but I don't really see part two needs to do a lot of the character background and motive explanation that part one should have done, and then also conclude the story
Hmm.
for it to be good.
Right,
And I
right.
don't see that happening in a 2 hour movie.
We got a random clip of Cora with another soldier, and they kissed, and then he died. It was incredibly random. It didn't it didn't add to the film at all. I think it was supposed to show us a little bit of her motivation, but it was just a random flashback
Yeah,
kind of scene that will the second part, the Scar Giver, will that yes, perfect name, right? Will that give us more of that backstory? Will it show a little bit more? I guess time will tell.
time will tell.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd give it about a quarter eclipse as well.
yeah.
Translated to actual time is that actually 2.25 stars. It's not more than 5 stars out of 10. It's not. It's just it falls flat. I wanted this to be good.
Yes.
I want a new, beautifully shot, great looking, great cinematography, great CGI sci-fi universe to come to the big screen. I want it. We can do it. We literally have the technology.
Yes.
but it's not this.
Execution fell way flat
Yeah.
in this one. And it again, it was in production for so long. It, apparently there was again, so if this was originally a pitch to Lucasfilm
Hmm.
for a Star Wars film, we can kind of see some aspects of that. But of course, you got to get rid of all the anything that references actual Star Wars IP, actual Lucasfilm IP. So you have to change things.
No
So I
Force
can understand that.
that I know Empire, no, yeah.
Right. So we'll call them the Imperium, like Imperial. Oh, oh, oh. But anyway, um, that being said, if we take this back and put it in a Star Wars world, so we have lightsabers, we have a Jedi,
The background and lore of the galaxy.
right? Would this even change if we no we still have the same exact plot, we still have the same characters, we just names are changed and there is some correlation.
I think it would.
We have the same dialogue. Would this have changed how we feel about the film? I don't think so. I think then we'd have a whole nother fan base coming in attacking this like, what the fuck did you do to our Star Wars?
I disagree
Okay.
because it's a new take, not centered around the Skywalkers, not centered around the specific politics of the Republic or Empire, whether you're doing pre-episode one or post First Order or whatever it is, or even if you make it between three and four or whatever with the Empire. Like I think it because you have that lore, you have the general frustration understood of the Empire. You have that frustration already built into it. You don't have to spend time convincing me and telling me why this character on this Western ranch doesn't like the Empire. We know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would give that much more context to it. It's one rebel, the Empire came, they what was that Mandalorian episode? They referred to the night of something or other
Night of Tears or
where
Thousand.
where he the Empire glassed Bill Burr's, yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like, okay, make her a survivor. She was off in the Outer Rim doing something, comes home, and her planet is glassed. Yeah, now I get her rage. And I was actually seeing some parallels between the Ahsoka book and Korra,
Oh
where
yeah.
when Ahsoka first goes into hiding, she's going world to world, and the bad guys come. She duels it out. She kills an Inquisitor, purifies the crystals. That's how she gets her white sabers. And then she's trying to stay removed from everything, but she keeps getting called into so she kind of starts becoming that ranger of good, that lone ranger of good, essentially Aragorn as Strider, like helping out the little guy who can't defend themselves because there's an inherent call to goodness.
Mm-hmm.
If this was that and they were trying to tweak the Ahsoka book to create a new character, I would get that. Was a Jedi, now not, has the will of the Force calling her to do good. There's context there. So I think this would have done better were it actually centered in the Star Wars universe. That being said, I completely agree. The Star Wars fandom would just go apeshit because that's what the Star Wars fandom does. That you and I 100% agree. But I think for me, I would have enjoyed it a lot better because I would have had it would have filled in where I think the lack of motive and motivation to do the actions happen. An old general from the Clone Wars is now called back to fight the people who killed the Republic. Like you have that.
But the only difference with that is the general story here was always the same. There was always going to be a rebel moon type situation. So again, we're at that point we're just we're fan
What
casting
if?
and yeah, we're what ifing on that right there. Oh man. Um yeah, I got excuse me. I don't think I have much else to really say about it. I guess the robot Jimmy. Yeah, I think that was his
Yeah.
name, Jimmy. Voiced by Anthony Hopkins, by the way. Um what I liked about his character or the little the machinations that they gave to him when he had the dirt on his face and he had to go down to the water and he cleaned himself up and then the girl came down and they had a nice little conversation. I thought that was pretty cool just to see that okay, this isn't just a hunk of metal with no soul. This was in effect a person, a character. So I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we didn't get much of.
We got a line of like they used to be assassin droids and now they're not.
Yeah, and that's it. And I don't do that anymore. I don't pick up my gun.
Except
That's it.
for arms.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess the next installment is in March or April or something.
Something like
And
that.
so we'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep an eye and see if they actually do
Yeah.
the R-rated Snyder cut, what they'll do, or if they'll just roll out I want to say episode part two. Um, we'll see what happens with that and go from there, I guess.
Yeah.
That's all you got?
There's not much else to say. Like it was a sci-fi movie that did sci-fi things, and it was a well-written story. It was not. But we'll I mean, I'm gonna watch the second part just to see if
Yeah,
it ties anything up, but I don't have hopes for it.
yeah. We'll see. Let's hope that we are blown away, pleasantly surprised by what comes next.
Come what
And
may.
that'll make us look forward to the animated comics
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
But it looks like Netflix and Zack Snyder are they're intertwined now. So he has this universe, the Rebel Moon universe. He also has the Thieves universe that is out doing things. So I guess they're gonna make a lot of money together.
That they will. And soon we will too, damn it.
Damn right. Don't hesitate to sponsor us.
Well, our reviews can be bought. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
say
100%.
this review was not bought. But yeah, anyway, guys, happy 2024. We look forward to continuing this podcast. Thank you for joining us this week as we talk about and lackluster over Rebel Moon. Let us know what you guys think. I'm curious to know what other people think of this stuff. It's not just us that I care to listen to. Definitely like and subscribe, hit the comment button below to comment, and the like button and the bells on YouTube, and the subscribe and notifications and wherever social media posts are.
Everything.
Like and comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends, I don't know, play it at Easter or whatever. But yes, thank you guys so much for listening to it. We really appreciate it, and we will catch you next time as we talk about. We'll let you know when we think of it.
Yeah. Good night, everyone.
Good night.